And so it is, beloved masters. Here we are, and I say the word success. And what comes to your mind? So many people, when the word success is spoken, consider success to be something that occurs in the physical world. That you make a lot of money, you have a lot of fame, that you are successful in what you set out to create in the physical world. And yet, success encompasses absolutely everything in your life, in your world, because as you are successful, every aspect of your being is influenced, is affected. And success, in its truest sense, is real and it is sustainable. And so we are going to speak about the many facets of success. Let's start with faith. Faith has been considered an abstract. Faith is something that is the evidence of things unseen, as the Master Book says. So you have faith in something that you can't see. You have faith in something you can't put your hands on. You have faith in something that doesn't necessarily pay off in the moment. And the logical, practical mind says, so what are you putting your faith in? And many of the churches would say you're putting your faith in God. But you can't see God, or touch God, or take God to the bank, at least from a logical, practical perspective. And so, beloved masters, success is based on what you can't see, what you can't touch, and what you really can't take to the bank before it ever manifests into some viable object, some provable outcome that the world will then point to and say, this person is a success. So the truth of success is, before the world ever says you are a success, you are required to have the faith that you are, to feel it in your bones, as the saying goes. Feel successful. And as you are feeling into what it feels like to be successful, feel all of the fears, the limitations, the doubts that come up about being successful. How much success can you allow? Where do you start limiting the success? How far do you dare go? And when do you start worrying about what might happen if success goes away if success is taken from you. And many worry about the fact that they might continue to be successful, and how much hard work is involved in being successful. And now all the laws of the lineage began to show up because all of that hard work in being successful truly, as you observe it, very often means you don't have any time to appreciate being successful because you are so busy working hard to be a success, trying to be more successful this time than you were the last time. And because everything that has to do with success, with fame, with money market accounts and the banking system is about exceeding your last try, to be so much better than you were the last time in a physical, mental outcome. But you don't hear a lot in success about the flow, about ease, about allowing. It's all about campaign plans. It's all about the next drive to success. It's all about obliterating the opposition, the competition. It's a war zone. So, if you really desire peace, then you probably won't ever be a success. That is a factor of the logical, practical mind. It has nothing to do with truth. But it is, beloved masters. It can certainly limit your capability of achieving and maintaining success. Success in the illusion oftentimes was your 15 minutes in the sun, and then it was gone, and maybe you never got another 15 minutes at all. And many felt that they never got their 15 minutes in the sun. Beloved masters, what if the sun shines on you all of the time? What if you walk in sunshine? What if you live in enlightenment? What if you experience a feeling from the Lord God of your being that you are successful, and you realize that that feeling really doesn't come from how much money you have in the bank? It's wonderful, beloved masters, to feel prosperous. But prosperity isn't altogether on a foundation of how much money you have in the bank. Prosperity and success are feelings of joy, upliftment, fulfillment. And if you're really allowing it, a sense of contentment. And contentment is an element that success in the world very seldom will allow. Because you only have a moment's breather before you've got to start the next campaign, before you've got to make the next drive, before you've got to climb the next mountain. And that illusion is done. That illusion is finished. And now, beloved masters, the whole world is called to be real. And success in reality is sustainable. Where success in the illusion often was a bumpy road, it faltered and maybe started again. Many, many rags to riches, to rags stories. But in reality, success is the natural state of affairs for a master. And you are indeed masters, each and every one. And therefore, success is right where you are. More often than not, when success comes, there is a lot of looking out into the world to discover the formula that brought success. Studying what you did step by step, and where did you come up with the magic bullet that allowed success to explode into your life. And the mind will look for some logical, practical, physical, mental, perhaps emotional aspect to lock into. And yet we will tell you, we will assure you, beloved masters, that the most successful beings on planet Earth very often had absolutely no idea exactly why the success happened, why it came, why it was as big as it became. Because they instinctively, intuitively began to rely on their inner knowing. And the mind isn't necessarily going to make a note of that. The mind isn't really willing to give any credit to that. In fact, the intellect is very concerned that there would be any credit or credibility given to the spiritual aspects of success. And yet, the most successful beings, not necessarily the ones with the most money, but the most successful beings are those who integrate every aspect of themselves into their success. The physical, oh yes, the mental, definitely. The feeling nature, but also the spirit that binds it all together. The element that has been set over there. Body, mind, spirit, the world has said. and left the emotional nature out completely. The feeling nature was not addressed. But body and mind were the connection in the physical world, and spirit was set to one side, an element that was not necessarily considered all that important. And certainly when it came to the business of business, unless the business was considered spiritual, spirituality was not brought into the thing much at all. So, faith is an element of true success that, if you consider, faith is a great healer. It mends the wounds of separation. It begins to lift you into higher dimensional frequencies so that you can look at where you have been and understand why many things have occurred in your life. When, if it were not for faith, if it was not for that upliftment that allows you to move into love, you wouldn't realize what blocked your success. For very often many people will say, I am doing, operative word, everything the books say. But the books don't tell you everything. Sometimes it's because the author did not know all of the steps. Sometimes it is because the author absolutely knew the steps that he or she was going to leave out because they wanted you to buy the book. That will make them successful. But they did not want to reveal the secrets, all of them, because success in the illusion more often than not had to do with my secret, the secret ingredient, the secret understanding, the secret wisdom. And yet, dearly beloved masters, all of those secrets are with you right now in this moment. Faith and love open the doorways, neuro pathways in the brain, enlightenment. In the 23rd Psalm in your master book, it speaks of the rod and the staff that comfort me. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. So much in your master book is allegorical. The rod is the spinal column that houses much of the nervous system. And where the spinal column enters into the cranial brain, there is an energy network that goes into the brain and crooks over into the pineal and pituitary. And that awakens the enlightenment in the brain. It sets off all manner of action and activity, from inspiration to wisdom. But if the impulses that come up the spinal column from the root chakra are about conflict, then what can be stirred in that area of the pineal and the pituitary is a search for information about battle. Now, enlightenment, when the focus of your life is on goodness, it creates a powerful circuitry in the brain, in the body, flowing through the nervous system, and it is, beloved masters, that focus on goodness. And of course, humanity would certainly view success as a great element of goodness. Then goodness begins to happen. But if the focus is on conflict, if it's on war, battle strategy, then the energy may in the moment seem to be higher. You might feel as though you're stronger. And then, because it isn't founded in love, the energy of war tends to collapse, to fall out from under you. Those that are involved in militaristic strategies are always having to find new levels of anger. And they must incite new levels of fear and anger in all of those that they would enlist to fight with them or to fight under them. So, since so much of success has been considered a part of battle strategy, here is another point where success doesn't go very far if it's founded on the foundations of war, unless the entities that are attempting to achieve success through conflict allow themselves to move to a place where they finally make themselves sick attempting to be successful. Because the fight-or-flight syndrome will, after all, do damage to the adrenals, to the kidneys, liver, heart, lungs, to the nervous system, to all of the organs. And so success acquired peacefully, success that is patient and kind, success that is funded by faith and love, is very real and very sustainable. And so, beloved masters, faith and love enlighten the brain. Beginning in the area of the pineal and pituitary, enlightenment lights up the whole center of the brain. And that enlightenment moves along the nervous system and down into the spinal column Imagine white light, golden effervescent energy flowing from the pineal and the pituitary along the crook of the staff and into the rod or the spinal column. And as that light energy comes to the area of the thyroid and the thymus, there is a huge bundle of nerves that send that enlightened energy into the area of the thyroid and the thymus, bringing a whole new sense of balance, a whole new sense of peace, a whole new sense of awareness that there is so much more to you, to all of this, than you have known before. It aligns the will center, the throat chakra, so that that area becomes more receptive to speaking positive, peaceful, clear messages of truth. It awakens the 13th chakra that sits in the area where the thymus gland actually lies. And these areas are not particularly tiny, so if you visualize something about the size of a dinner plate, encompassing energetically the whole area of the throat, the thyroid, the thymus, and the 13th chakra. The awakening, the second coming of Christ. And the second coming of Christ, dearly beloved masters, is not about Jesus alone. The second coming of Christedness, for that is what the Master Jesus brought, was the understanding of Christedness, which is an energetic blessing, a union, a uniting with God. It is not specific to one master. All the masters are Christed. But one master, Joshua ben Joseph, was the bringer of the message of Christedness. And so it is. When we speak of the second coming of Christedness, it isn't peculiar to any one religion. It embraces everyone. It opens the whole world to a potential of a new understanding and awareness of success in love. And as the light that is moving down your spinal column continues to move after it has informed, awakened that whole area of the throat chakra, the thyroid and the thymus, and the 13th chakra, it moves down into the area of the solar plexus. No, beloved masters, I didn't forget the heart chakra. But the heart chakra is a part of that complex, that huge center of sending and receiving powerful information. So, as the enlightenment comes from the spinal column into the area of the stomach, the solar plexus, the heart, the area of the navel, that whole area is activated and illuminated to a much more potent and powerful connection. It's always been there, but now it is activated in such a way that you don't just talk about truth, think about truth, you feel what truth feels like. It's not a war game, it's not an opinion. It is an essence of connectedness. I am that I am. It opens the heart to a greater ability to not just give love, masters, but to receive it. You are a planet of beings who have been taught to give, and then you have been threatened about receiving. So you are walking around on a planet of givers, and it is, beloved masters, no one is quite completely willing to receive love. A little love, but the logical, practical mind is looking into, and how do I gate how much love I will allow myself to receive? How much is safe? How much is too much? And beloved masters, I will assure you, there is never too much love.